anybody can be a beautiful bride.
I was quite taken aback by how quickly I got swept away by the romance.
You look amazing. How do you feel in that one?
I feel amazing, funny enough. I feel very regal.
Anne Brees can't wait to settle down with her English fiancé, Ben.
Our civil ceremony will actually be on the 19th of May. So I think there's another wedding going on. Someone's told me, I'm not sure. It's going to be an international wedding. It's an interracial wedding. She's quite open about and very proud about the fact that she's a mixed race. I think that only is going to be beneficial because I'm in an interracial relationship, and bringing that to the foreground and to the mainstream is only going to hopefully have a positive impact. And I think she's handled it with elegance and grace in regards to some of the kind of nasty attacks that she's had based off of her race. So I think it's only positive.
This is the first royal wedding where the bride's ethnicity has made headlines. A mixed-race American actress whose ancestors were slaves marrying a British prince. Since Meghan herself has been so outspoken about racial equality, some see this marriage as a game changer and a victory for diversity.
I'm really just proud of who I am and where I come from, and we have never put any focus on that. We've just focused on who we are as a couple.
For me, it's an added member of the family. It's another team player as part of the bigger team.
Congratulations from all of us. How are you both feeling? And Meghan, how are you feeling? And tell us, how did you propose? Was it romantic? When Nova Reid was getting married, she found there was very little out there for brides like her, so set up a blog and often works with designer Ian Stewart.
But what we try to do here is to really custom create the gown for the client.
That's what women want. They don't want to look like everybody else, but if we can't see it represented, we don't think it exists for us. So have a look, dive in.
Oh my gosh, these are gorgeous, aren't they?
I started buying more magazines and it was the same thing. Sometimes I would flick through them and there would be not one single person of colour in the entire magazine. And as I became more into the industry and going to wedding shows and wedding fairs, it was the same on the catwalk. I'd be given goodie bags with tanning products in it. So it was like I wasn't being thought of as a black woman. People weren't expecting me to be coming through the doors and spending money. So I thought, hold on a second. There's a niche here, let me create something.
I've got an idea. You flick through that one, I'll flick through this one, and let's try and find a black bride, shall we? And that lack of representation doesn't stop with the wedding industry, creating a sense of alienation.
I grew up in Hertfordshire and I was a minority, and I became acutely aware that I was different to my peers and everyone around me. So as a young girl, I loved watching Disney, but I never associated myself as being a princess, as being desirable in that way, because everything that was preferred and offered to me on the TV, even in popular culture, didn't look like me. Most of the representations of people with the same skin as me were children in poverty, charity adverts asking for people to donate. So it brought all that stuff up again, and I thought, we're decades later, why is this still a thing?
On the face of it, you would think this future princess is getting to know a diverse and inclusive United Kingdom. The last census showed the number of people classed as white British is declining, and 1 in 10 couples are interracial. But race and how we talk about it can split families and communities. A recent report found that 1 in 4 people admit to being racially prejudiced. Prince Harry complained about what he said were the racial undertones of reports about his fiancée.
There's basically 2 ways the media's gone with it. When the Daily Mail came out, I think it was in 2016, I think the headline was, Prince Harry's girlfriend is almost straight out of Compton, and it's a really racist tale about how her mother lives in the American ghetto, and would the Queen be able to go around for a cup of tea, and drew on all these really negative stereotypes on black people. And then the second kind of reaction from the media has been this, to kind of downplay the fact that she's black at all. So she looks like Pippa Middleton, or she's going to be like Princess Diana.
Dr. Kayindi Andrews from Birmingham City University is deeply sceptical about all the hype around the wedding and the perception it'll somehow improve things for black people.
One of my PhD students, a young black woman, when the TV announcement came out that they were going to have this wedding, her neighbour, who's an older white lady, made a special trip to come out of her house, come around, knock on the door, just to tell my PhD student that she thought it was terrible, that she thought the monarchy should stay white, and she wasn't happy at all. And then she went back to her house and carried on with her life.
You are kidding. So she bothered to come out of her house just to tell your student that she wasn't happy about it?
Yes. And that also tells you some of the honesty that you get, maybe from that older generation, I think. So the royal family is probably a premier institution of whiteness. If you look at the idea of the empire, the Commonwealth, the time when Britain was great and Britannia ruled the waves.
5 chieftains boarded the liner to bid the Queen welcome to the islands.
It's not a coincidence that 68% of people think that colonialism was a good thing, and about 68% of people believe that the monarchy is a good thing as well. Right? So the monarchy is this kind of symbol of many of the problems with Britain and how it relates to race.
How many of you know any of the royal family? How many?
But what is the reality of being black or mixed race in Britain today? At this youth club, they encourage the kids to identify people that they feel they can look up to.
So how many people think it's a good thing that Meghan and Harry are getting married? I want to see the hands up. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
What do you know about Prince Harry and Meghan Markle? Do you know anything about them?
I know that they're getting married.
Oh, are you excited?
Yeah.
What do you think of Meghan?
She's very pretty.
She is very pretty, you're right.
Yeah, she's a good role model.
Yeah. And who else do you look up to? Who are like the people that you admire?
I look up to Beyonce because she's a really good role model.
Oh, what's going on in here? We've got a team leader and we're making some toast and stuff for the children.
Abba Graham set up the Ebony and Ivory community group 9 years ago.
When I started this all them years ago, it came from 2 young girls that said to me, I have nothing in stock for me. And so I wanted to hopefully bring children together and work with them.
And 9 years on, have you still got kids coming through the door saying...
Even more so now.
Why?
Even because whether it's what the government call austerity or whether, I don't know, the issues around the international or national issues that are happening like Brexit or whatever, I don't know.
Talk to people like Abba and they'll tell you that feeling of discrimination filters into everything from policing to job prospects, education to housing. The government's first ever race disparity audit found that ethnic minority households are more likely to be poor and most likely to be in persistent poverty.
They don't go out of the house at all. Friday is their only outlet, outside of school.
Which is why it's so busy.
That's why it's so busy all the time. By 4 o'clock sometimes they're waiting outside. We don't start till about 5:30.
So they come straight from school?
Straight from school, and then we will get some food for them.
Less than a quarter of black children in Stockport reach the standard set for 11-year-olds in reading and maths. Ziada is 15 and wants to be a lawyer. Do you ever feel that because of the colour of your skin, you're treated differently?
Going through high school, you always experience some sort of bullying. But then I feel like that increases for me because I'm of my skin color and black. One of my classmates was having an argument with her friend today. They were arguing over something, and then she got told, oh, you're a slave.
They take the mickey out of slavery.
Yes, some of them do try and be I guess they do it as a joke, but yeah, they still say things about it.
Every black male academic will tell you they get hassled by security, they get stopped because they think they're a student. I have colleagues who've been somebody physically tried to escort them away from their office because they thought they were trying to break in. So every day I actually go to work. I go to work in trousers and very smart, have my name badge right around my neck so everybody can see it. And it's something that you just have to do, because to not do it is to always seem to be suspect and always seem to be problematic.
If you're being served in a shop and you notice the The shopkeeper having wonderful conversations or just small talk with customers in front of you who do not share the same skin tone, and then you come and you be served and there's no eye contact, there's no conversation, and your money isn't placed in your hand like the peer before, it's placed on the counter for you to pick up yourself. So it's these tiny, tiny things that are really hard to call out sometimes that make you recognise that you're still seen as an other.
I lean on Ben, I lean on my fiance to kind of give me that strength whenever I feel a bit uncomfortable, or maybe I feel like people are staring a little bit too long when we first moved out there.
Is this something that you are interested in?
Yeah. Surgeon, doctor. As Meghan gets to know the UK, they visited places where you can't help but talk about immigration and diversity. It was striking that they were the royal representatives at a service for teenager Stephen Lawrence, who was murdered by a racist gang 25 years ago. Now, as part of the establishment, can she really use her new role to challenge inequality?
Try and encourage others and the younger generation to be able to see the world in the correct sense rather than having a distorted view.
Of course it's disheartening. It's a shame that that is the climate in this world, to focus that much on that, or that would be discriminatory.
It's not good or bad, but it will have absolutely no impact on racism in Britain at all. Britain doesn't like to admit its colonial past.
To have something positive, which I think is what Meghan stands for. I think it's a wonderful thing for young girls to see different variations of beauty and strength and desirability.
It doesn't matter what skin colour you are, because we are all equal.
Come here, please.